This tutorial shows you how to get data from and the City of Cambridge Open Data Program. We're gonna first save the data as a static CSV data file and then analyze it. But we can also use the API to continuously pull data as new updates happen. And we will be able to create at the end a map or a dashboard with always refreshing data. So to begin with, we'll zoom in on this open data table portal. Inside the portal, we'll see some of the most popular data sets, and we'll focus into the Commonwealth Connect services request. It's similar to the 311 service request, which also has a mobile app, I believe, the C Click Fix mobile app, Open 311. Okay, so this page tells us that there are 140,000 rows and 16 columns. The columns have this information, the variable names, right? And we're gonna just focus on a specific type of issue or category of issues, snow removal. There just was a big storm, and we need to see what kind of quote unquote complaints or tickets are they receiving through this 311 system, and where are they? And look into, what's being done about the snow removal by the city. So as you know, this data is going to be very continuously updated. To download the CSV file, you can go up here and go to click on export. This is the CSV file. Get all the data. Click on download. So that works fine. You'll get it into your computer. But as soon as you download it, it's out of date because if 5 minutes later someone adds a new report or the city employees shovel the snow, then this data is no longer up to date. The other solution is to use the API. Uh, the API has these settings, and the important thing is to look at this endpoint. So this is the endpoint. There's also some documentation we can go to. So let's check out the documentation. So this is the Commonwealth Connect service request. The documentation is this. This is one example here. If we know about API keys or tokens, this is where you would put your API token. So you will have to set up a new account, get the API token, and put that into the URL of the API call. And let's continue. So to sign up, you click on this link, sign up for API token. Then these are the fields, as we saw before. This is the most useful area because there's many different programming languages for us. If we're learning Python and Pandas, we click here and we copy all this code, and then we use this code to get the data. So let's take a look at the code. I copied the code over here in this area, and the most important thing is this URL. I modified the URL to get only three of the most requests that came in, the most recent ones. And this is the ID for the 311 core dataset. There's other datasets in Cambridge's open data portal, but we're focused on the officially the name is the Commonwealth Connect services for the city of Cambridge. So that's the ID. And you know it because when you click through the series of actions, um, you'll see that there's an ID here. So this is the ID. So if you're working with other data sets, make sure you get the ID, the correct ID. Okay. And now we have all this information. If we run it, um, let's run this. You can also check the, you know, check the URL and copy and paste this. So this is what will happen if you get into this page. So API call is nothing more than just a URL that goes to the server. It comes back with this block of data. So this is the data. Again, it's very hard to read in Chrome. So let's try reading this in Firefox. We're gonna go to Firefox, and then we'll see what Firefox shows us. So the structure is the ticket ID, one of them. The second is the second ticket ID, and the third is the third ticket ID. The categories are bike wreck, bike repair station damage, icy or unshoveled sidewalk, icy or unshoveled sidewalk. They happened on this time and date. So we can have access to all these information. There's even images of the problem. So if you click to the image, you'll get to the picked photo right here. Okay, so this is putting the URL in this way into a browser. But we want to do more than that. We want to, let's go back to the actual code in Chrome, Google Colab. So we have all this data, it comes back, then we want to convert it. We want to actually save it as a pandas data frame so Python can process it. So just kind of going line by line, we're sending in the URL, the link, just like you put this into the browser and you load the page. You see if there's any mistakes or errors. If not, then you just get the data. They set the data equals to the JSON response. Okay. With the data, you can convert it as a uh, data frame, a pandas data frame. And now we just need to print out the data frame. This is all the same information, but arranged as a data table as opposed to the JSON key value pair. And now it's a JSON table, it's a data frame. We can just say, I'm going to add this code, create a new Google sheet with df data. Okay, so that's what's happening next in this new cell. And we'll run this. It might take a second to kind of compose the code. And it's done writing the code for us. Google Colab has written these lines of code to convert it or to create a Google Sheet. It's going to be a brand new Google Sheet. We can name it whatever we want. We can edit this code. But for now, we'll just run it as is. If you accept but not run, you can still make changes. So, you can say test. Okay, so it's all editable code. If we run it now, it's going to ask for permission to write into our Google Sheets account, which we should agree to and continue, allow, continue, continue. And after that, it's going to give us the message we have successfully created Google Sheet and give us the link to the Google Sheet. Oh, because I didn't run it, we need to run this code. That's why it's not. So we talked about the code, but we didn't execute this code. Okay, now let's run it again. Okay. And then there should be a clickable link at the end. Okay, there's some mistakes. So we'll uh, try to have it diagnose its own mistakes and correct itself. Okay. After looking at the mistakes or the errors, he came up with these edits and changes to the code. Let's accept and run. And hopefully this time you'll create the Google Sheet. And we'll inspect the Google Sheet by clicking on successfully created Google Sheet, this active link. Let's open that. You should have three rows with all the columns and the description of what the customer or the resident of Cambridge has written down in their own words, and then the images. Okay, I'm not sure if all the images will work, but yeah, it looks good. And then even this URL, if you just manually click into it and copy it, you go there, you can see the actual web page of this ticket of this problem. and get even more information about the issue. So, so the data looks great. It's saved into Google Sheets. We only did three to make it manageable. But if you have finished getting all the data, it's always up to date because you're every time you run the script, you'll get the most recent three or the most recent 30, the most recent 300, whatever you want. Let's say this is it. Then we can, okay, now that we learned how to get the data into a Google Sheet, this is, let's say this is all the data we need. Just a few good practices. You go to view, freeze the first row. I like to bold the first row, so when you scroll down, you still have it up at top. Um, and then this information is all working. If sometimes there's some overlap, you can kind of increase or decrease to organize it. You could take visualize this data into a map, something like this. So this is the data map, and the final output is this. And these are the dots where there are snow. So this is a locator map. The locator map is not as flexible because you cannot dynamically load in variables. But if you use this other map, this other type of map, this like kind of more plain looking map, you could load in even the images on mouse over or the metadata and information into each one of these, including the description of what the person has written. For example, the issue they're having. And then if they make a clickable link, there's a clickable link that anyone could click to. So those are made using data wrapper. If you go to map, you can create either the locator map, which has more detail but less dynamic metadata, or the simple map, which has more a plainer look like this, a plainer look but more metadata and more interaction. Keep in mind, anytime you run the script in Python, every time you run it, you update this data with more recent tickets. Data wrapper should be dynamically and automatically uploading this into the map. So that's a really neat way to set up this data pipeline. Okay, so I went through this pretty quickly, step by step, but the really challenging part was really this Python script and getting that to work. So we'll get more practice with that in class. Okay, thanks a lot. I'll see you in class.